Okay, everyone, welcome back to the Small World podcast. Great to have you here again today, coming to you from finals week. So I just had a final. I think I did all right. We'll find out. If I'm in a bad mood a couple of weeks from now, you guys will know why. I'm really happy to have the co-founder of Autosana today, UV, repeat founder, someone who has just clearly always had this building mindset. This is someone who has been part of or started 4 different companies at this point, and he's just barely out of college. This is someone who I have a feeling will continue to build throughout his life and someone who has a deep, deep passion for that. So I'm really excited to talk about the problem solving aspect, the building aspect, and just the life aspect that UV has, even though he's really young, accumulated throughout his life. So UV, thank you so much for hopping on the pod.
Yeah, thanks, Nikita. I appreciate that. And yeah, I get. My name is Yuvi. My real name is Yuvon. Grew up in Maryland, and as Nikita said, this is the fourth startup I've been on the founding team for or started. And yeah, so a little bit about Autosana. Autosana is the agentic QA platform for iOS, Android, and web apps. So basically, instead of writing thousands of lines of code or having a manual tester, you essentially just tell our agents what to do and what to test, and it'll directly report back to the team with results. And like on every single release, every single kind of deployment, you'll be the first to know if bugs are caught. So yeah, so that's a little bit about it.
Sweet. And thank you for taking the initiative there. I realized I didn't even ask a question when I introduced you.
All good.
So I do want to start out just by, for someone who isn't super technical, QA, quality assurance, essentially, you write a bunch of code, you got your application, your website, whatever. Well, now it's time to figure out whether or not that shit actually works. And usually, UV, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, big group, big team, and they go and they test all the edge cases. They're literally spending hundreds of hours clicking on every single button, trying to see every single process that's going on in the website, and it's incredibly tedious. That's the problem that Autosana, I assume, addresses. I want to ask you, the what was the moment of pain that brought you to that aha moment to create Autosana?
Yeah, that's a really good question, Nikita. And I think this goes into the philosophy of like how to come up with an idea. I think one of the best ways to come up with an idea is just tackle a problem that you personally feel. So in our last three companies, we're all in mobile. So my co-founder and I, Jason, for some context, Jason and I have been, as Nikita mentioned, those four previous companies. Jason and I were a part of those four previous companies together. We started our first one when we were 18. We were CTO and CPO for our second one. Our third one, we were founding engineers. And then fourth one, we left to start Autosana. But we basically both felt this QA pain constantly. It was a small team shipping fast. And and QA was the biggest bottleneck every time. You would just kind of, we wrote thousands of lines of code to kind of do this end-to-end testing automatically. But the thing is that those test scripts are super brittle, super flaky. And if you were to change anything, like let's say change my continue button from down here to up here, the test breaks. So you're spending more time actually fixing the tests rather than iterating on actual features. So we were like, there's got to be a better way to go about this. The only other way was manual, like going through it manually. And we were like, there's got to be a better way to do this, especially with how good vision language models and things have gotten. And so that's exactly what we started to tackle in February-ish. We started experimenting with these vision language models, and we got it to the point where you could just kind of tell our agent, hey, sign in with Google and go through onboarding and make sure you don't see any errors or make sure everything works correctly. That's a perfectly fine test you could write on Autosana. And our agents will basically go in, log in with Google, go through onboarding, answer whatever questions, and make sure that everything works correctly. So yeah, that's kind of how we came up with the idea. We just felt the pain ourselves a lot. And I think that's one of the best ways to come up with an idea.
I completely agree. There definitely is in the VC world like the founder market fit like
Yeah.
kind of question going on now.
Yes.
Um, Pretty much echoing what you're saying. So digging a little deeper into what Autosana does, right? I essentially go on and I say, here's my application. And I say, I want you to make sure that so and so runs properly, right? Do I have to write out every single like test by myself? Do I have to tell it exactly what to do? How does Autosana make my life like easier?
Yeah. So let's talk about a company pre Autosana and post Autosana. So pre Autosana, they're writing code and they either have a QA team that so on average it's about 3 days every single release. So like, we want to get feature X out. There's 3 days later. they get a sheet back from QA saying like, we found so many bugs in feature X, right? In this new release. They fix it, and then they do the whole thing again. So that 3 days of like QA time is like an extreme bottleneck and constantly like slows down deployments. So with Autosana, you say, okay, well, you don't even say anything. You just kind of like you kind of import your test cases, um, and from there, as soon as you like push to your GitHub branch, so we embed in the CI and everything. So we embed in like your code, essentially, kind of thing, your code
Mhm.
deployment pipeline. As soon as you push, then Autosana will just test everything. So instead of waiting 3 days to get a QA report back, you now only will get it back in a few hours, max of like Autosana going through like it'll test basically all the things that previously should work. So it's like regression testing, but also it's like you can add more things like for example, for feature X, you need to, make sure that works, make sure this works. So yes, you do have to add those because I don't think we're at a point where LLMs can like there's a huge context gap in what you as the team want to test and
Mhm.
what the agent knows it should test. So and that's a different story as well because we tried that whole thing. But yes, you would have to go on, write these natural language tests, literally just like as if you were speaking to someone, log in with onboarding or log in with Google, go through onboarding, test feature X, blah, 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 make sure it does this. That's what you have to tell Autosana. And basically that'll just be tested every time, along with your 100 other tests, like, onboarding, sign up, all these. So those are called regression tests, making sure that previous functionality worked.
Yep.
So now overall in a high, and like Lehman's terms, it's like, okay, Autosana has now help you ship with more confidence because manual QA and automated QA with like test scripts very flaky, and also manual testers get lazy. Like, I mean, it's so a lot of things slip through the cracks. So now you're shipping with more confidence because Autosana actually catches these things, and you're shipping in not even a quarter, but like a tenth of the time. So instead of waiting 3 days for your QA cycle to come back, it comes back in a few hours. And this is on every single release, every single fix, based on how you configure it. So, yeah.
There's always the joke of like your QA team tests every single like thing other than the first thing that your first user does.
Yeah,
So I totally get what you mean by like people get lazy. And also it's like human error, right? You
I
think something
agree.
so trivial, right?
I agree. And I know there's a word for this or a term for this, but I don't know specifically. But like when you're part of a team, and I've felt this so many times, I feel this with Autosana, is like you're so used to the product, you're so used to seeing it that it's really hard to take a step back and like think from like a fresh user perspective, especially for our customers. Like our customers are all consumer apps. So it's hard, they're in the code base all day, they're working on the product all day. So they understand it full on full, like subconsciously, they know how this product works inside and out. So it's really hard for the manual tester itself to take a step back and be like, okay, if I was a new user, how would I go through this application? And that's where I think a lot of the bugs really slip through in the whole manual testing, and that's where a lot of the error kind of resides. It's like that context gap, or not even context, but like putting yourselves in like a very neutral position, which agents are really good at doing. So, yeah,
And the other thing that agents blow me away with, the first time I used an agent, I can see it going on my computer and start clicking shit. That's
yeah.
nuts to me. A cool feature of Autosana that you guys have is I can see exactly what the agent does, right? So can you tell me a little bit more about how not only are you guys testing everything, but then you're providing that information back to your customers in very simple format?
Yeah, so we built all of our infrastructure, and so what's happening is that natural language prompt you kind of give Autosana saying, well, we'll use the example of like sign in with Google, go through onboarding, make sure everything works. We basically have like a screenshot kind of functionality, so it'll perform an action, whether it's like tapping, swiping, entering like text and things like that, and then the agent will go think again. It'll be like, all right, I've entered text. Now what do I do? Okay, I press continue. Now after I press continue, what do I do here? So, yeah, so it's basically like then we provide you with all those recordings and all those like screenshots and basically annotations of like what the agent did. Oh, it entered text over here, it pressed this button. It was a little confused, so it tried tapping the menu button to see what it needs to do. So we give you like a very much like a user journey of like kind of what the agent did to get to your success or failure criteria, and did it pass or fail the test. So, yeah, that's like yeah, that's basically how it works. Like just kind of like just all the infrastructure, and we use a combination of LLMs and things like that. So it's not just one out of the box one, including like fine tuning and all that. So
So when you say you use multiple LLMs, that's just to make sure that there's no hallucinations, errors, like you kind of have it repeat the process?
not real, no, not even that. It's like for our whole journey. Like, so certain LLMs are really good at certain things. Like
Oh,
some LLMs are
uh,
really good at vision, some are really good at interpretation. So like it's like orchestration
yeah.
of many different LLMs to know what to use at certain times. So that is one of the biggest things. That's one of the hardest things to do. And I feel like we are definitely ahead of the curve. I feel like we are, based on our customers, based on people who have come to us from competitors. I'd like to say that we're top of the game there. So we hope to keep that lead.
So let's talk about how you're going to keep the lead because I'm really curious about what are you guys working on now to make Autosana pretty much the de facto thing that every application uses to check how good they are.
That's a good question. I think we're in like this arms race kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, at the end of the day, it's who can build the fastest and most reliable agent, because reliability is like number one in the QA kind of testing space, right? Like, we don't have any tests that if it like it flags as passed when it actually failed. So those are called like false positives.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't have any of those. Um, or I'll say it's like a less than 0.1% kind of thing. And then the false positive or false negatives of like basically when it says that a test should fail, or sorry, a test that's supposed to pass, it says that it failed because of some like UI bug or something like that. Those are a little bit more common, but not like very common at all. So honestly, how do we keep the lead is just keep iterating, keep talking to customers and like staying close to the customer. I think one of the biggest things that my co-founder and I got burned on in our last few companies is not understanding the actual needs of the customer. We like this is for every founder out there. It's like there's a vision, internal vision in our head of like, okay, this is how I see Autosana being used. This is how I would use it. But there's such a huge gap of like how you think of in the beginning, such a huge gap of how you think people should be using Autosana and how people actually use Autosana. So it's really critical that you stay very close to users, very close to customers, and essentially have them like form a relationship where they should be so comfortable telling you that, hey, this shit is broken, this shit is ass, why doesn't this work? But you serve such a value to them that they don't churn. And I'm not saying that our customers are saying like, "Hey, this is ass, this is not working," but I am saying that we have such a good relationship with our customers to the point where they're not afraid to bring up things, and we know that that we're providing value. You know, like
Absolutely.
and whenever, at all times, like we have like a drop everything for customers kind of policy where, yeah, like that's the only thing that matters, customers and making a product that they stick with. So that's something that we didn't do that well in the past. At least Jason and I didn't do that well, and now we really learned that's the name of the game. That's the only thing that matters.
Yeah. And I think there's a distinction to be made there where you say, like, a customer said, this is ass. The product's not bad. There will always be something that sucks, though. Like, that's just kind of how it
Always.
always. But having customers tell that to you is incredibly valuable. The companies that
Agreed.
succeed are the ones who are going to listen. So I also want to make a distinction here because as a founder myself, at some point, TBD, I'm going to have to figure this out. You said I have a vision for how Autosana is going to be used. This is how my customers use it. When you kind of see the difference between those two things, are you trying to steer your customers towards how you think Autosana should be used, or are you steering Autosana closer to how your customers want to use it?
I think that's a really good question. I think it's a balance.
Yeah,
Like definitely the customer takes priority in the sense like I would say it's probably like 80-20. So 80% you want to start leaning towards like, oh shit, like customers are really using, for example, customers, the way we thought about Autosana was like, yes, this is testing new features, all that stuff. The way customers started using it is mainly for regression testing. So we started leaning into that because regression testing is apparently extremely like hard task to solve. And we knew that partially, but we didn't know it to the extent of like working with these big, huge companies that it's like, oh shit, regression testing is actually a huge problem here. Let's lean into that a bit more. So yes, so definitely, why would you kind of if a customer's see there's a balance. Okay, so I'll take a step back. Let's say you have 10 customers and they all are using it different ways. So that's really tough in sense like that would kind of hinder your guidance. You'd be like, "Oh shit, like those guys are using it this way, these guys are using it that way. Like where do I kind of start leaning towards?" I think about it this way. You need to find similarities in everything there. You need to find similarities in those 10 customers of like, "Oh shit, they're all using it for regression testing. Let's make that whole thing better." So now whenever we make product improvements, product improvements, whether it's a request from a huge, like multi-billion dollar company or a small, like 10, $15 million startup, whatever we make product changes, we try to make it, and we have been very successful in this, make it applicable to help all customers. So, um, finding that similarity. So it's like, let's say a customer wants like, hey, I need to test this type of thing, like very, very niche kind of thing. Then we take a step and we're like, okay, interesting. You want to test that niche thing? Could you potentially test it using this method? And keep
Mm.
in mind, this method can be used by all other customers. So now it's best of both worlds, like a compromise a little bit. And if they're really like, no, we need it like this, then it's a conversation to be had and things like that. You ideally want to whatever complaints come through, you ideally want those. You never want a special case for people. That's like really tough to manage, and hurts in the overall like growth of the product. I think so. Yeah, I think I definitely went a little off track there, but I think there's so much. You need to find similarities in how people are using your product to then double down on what works and what doesn't work. But
It's a really hard, like, line to toe at the end of the day.
yeah, I do think that Jason and I have had an easier time just because we were like, we would have loved to have this as our at
Mm.
our previous companies, and honest like, we built like, Autosana every single day, it tests itself. We have Autosana testing itself right
Oh, that's
now.
so cool.
Yeah, so, constantly, all day, every day, whenever we push changes, it's testing itself, making sure everything works. So we are users of our own product, but,
Like,
also yeah, literally, but we also came from a background where this is, very mobile heavy, so we understand the pain point a little bit more than people who just kinda jump into a an idea, and that's why I think it's so important to tackle a problem that you have some type of like similarities with, or some that you like resonate a little bit with.
no, that makes perfect sense. So, let's talk about you and Jason. This is your 4th company together. Are you guys super collaborative on everything, or is Jason doing one thing, you're doing another, and you guys kinda meet up at some point? How does that dynamic work, and how has that developed?
Yeah, I think so. In the past, Jason and I were both fully technical, and we both are fully technical. Like the first company, we were both writing code, but it wasn't as big of a company as Autosana is now, and it wasn't, it's a very, very think about it like a project, honestly. Forget the first company. We learned a lot, learned how to build mobile apps really well. Second company, I was CPO, a chief product officer, Jason was CTO, so in charge of tech. So I was building all the consumer facing stuff. Jason was in charge of like the heavy backend stuff, the infra side of things. So we had our balance. Same thing at our third company. I was fully in charge of building the whole mobile app experience because I was really good at like the whole mobile app stuff, and I also have a sense of design and things like that. Jason was in charge of like infra and the whole backend side of things. So slowly we started like understanding each other's strengths,
Mm.
and we do overlap a lot. We did overlap a lot, I will say. Like sometimes he would work on the mobile app, sometimes I would take a lot of backend tasks and just kind of get our hands dirty with that. And I think like we both enjoy the whole full stack kind of stuff. Now we've fully kind of like Jason CTO, I'm in charge of everything non tech. So my goal, like, yeah, I tell Jason, I'm like, listen, we have two engineers, amazing guys that we've known for a while, good friends. And I'm like, there's no point of all four of us working on code. Like there's really no point of us four. We have three people working on code, and I'll take care of everything else. Everything else. So ops, sales, marketing, demos, this, that, everything. So
Podcast.
a podcast. So what I'm saying is that I'm definitely I would say like I'm turning into more of like a generalist. It's like generalist versus specialist. My goal at the end of the day is I'm going to do whatever it takes to make this company successful. And whatever it takes may be like doing all the ops work, the sales work, this, that. I've never done that stuff before. I've never taken demos, but I was like, if I don't do it, who's going to do it? And I know Jason's strengths as well. I know Jason, he's like how I describe it, he's like a laser. Like when he's focused on one
Mm.
thing, like insane executor. Like he's amazing at his work, but he needs to be focused on a set few things. I feel like I can handle several different things, and just kind of bounce around and get everything all good. So I told him, I tell my team this all the time. I'm like, hey, you guys focus on tech and product side of things. We work together on product because I know what the customers want and everything. But I will take care of everything else. You let me know if there's anything I could do to make your life easier, and I'll make it happen. Like my goal is like when we hire and all that, our whole hiring philosophy, my whole hiring philosophy is like I'm here to create an environment where you thrive in. So when you join Autosana, that's what I'm gonna be doing. Like it's not like, oh, you work for me, this bullshit, none of that. It's like I'm here to help you thrive. So you let me know what you need and I'm there, you know? So and I think that's kind of how we divided it up. And I've kind of morphed into this whole like the whole CEO role of like sales and meeting clients and taking clients to dinner and making out like our bigger clients and all that stuff. So yeah, shit. Like I'm just gonna figure it out, and I think that's half the battle with most of these startups. People think like, oh shit, no, I'm only technical. I need to only be technical. It's like you got to do what you got to do, and not being afraid of that is like it's a hard step to take. Like, doing my first demo was the scariest thing ever because I was like, oh, shoot, this is going to be so. I'm going to be like a bot on this call, and then slowly you just get better and better, and then you're in like a rhythm, and you just kind of yeah. So that's kind of how we divide it now.
I would have never guessed that you just started being the like quote unquote non-technical guy. It seems like you really have reached a flow. Speaking of technical, a lot of companies, I think started by A16Z at this point, have kind of put a lot of emphasis on the technical co-founders. You believe in that? Do you think
Mhm.
there's a balance to be reached? What's your opinion on it?
I completely believe in the technical co-founders kind of thing. Like I personally think that like both Jason and I being technical, applying to YC, I think that's a huge factor at YC as well. So that was a huge selling point. But it's also you just understand like at my previous companies when there was like a non-technical founder, there was such a gap in like what okay, we need X to be done soon. Okay. That's a pretty big task. And the expectations are so different there. So previous companies it would be like, hey, we need this to be done by Friday. That's kind of not possible. We need so much things. We need approval. We need to get approved for these type of things. We need to build this. Like it's a huge task. So I'm saying like having that technical background, when I'm like, hey, Jason, we need to get these things done, I also know how long realistically these things take. So there's a smaller gap in what needs like the expectations. Like expectations are very eye to eye because we both kind of live this technical. We both study computer science. All like we both. Not that that really matters to be honest, but we've both been building for the last 7 years. So yeah, I think there's a huge benefit to that, and I think it's just like I don't know. I have like in the Bay Area. Like I live in San Francisco now. Like I don't meet many non-technical founders to be honest.
Yeah.
Like all of them are mainly tech. Maybe it's that's maybe because I live in like the neighborhood near YC, and YC just breeds like this non-technical kind of team. So maybe it's that, but I have not. I haven't maybe like a handful of non-technical founders I've met.
No, yeah, it's definitely been a trend, whether for better or for worse, we'll find out. I think probably for better. For someone who, and we're going to get on the college point in a second because you did mention,
Oh yeah,
want to get to that. But before that, for someone who wants to be a founder and isn't as technical as maybe they want to be or they should be, where do they start?
like first they need to ask themselves like why aren't they technical?
Mhm.
Like genuinely, like why if you're so interested in building tech, why aren't you technical? It's a very real conversation to have with yourself. Like I feel like I see a lot of people that are like trying to, hey, I'm non-technical, but I want to build a tech startup. Like, do you really want to build a tech startup? Or do you want to build a tech startup for the wrong reasons? Because it looks cool.
Because
It's
you want
like
money, B2B SaaS.
all that bullshit, So but it's like a chicken and the egg situation. If you actually liked building and actually have the qualities to like become a successful founder, you would have already been technical. Not already been technical, but like the how do I say it? And I think Paul Graham, PG, makes a really good case of this, of like the nerds and like the hackers. Is like naturally you just go this route if you're a natural builder. you start building shit, and then you start learning how to code, and you're like, whoa, this is super cool. I can build stuff while writing code. And then you just naturally become technical. But it's like, if it's a conscious effort of like, oh, I want to become a technical founder because I want to build a startup, then I feel like there's already some disconnect there, like really. But let's say that in your case, in the frame of your question, they got the chops to do it and they want to become technical, let's call it. I think just start building shit. It's really, people love overcomplicating it. Should I start with Replit? Should I start with Coursera online? I'm like, dude, just start building shit. It's People love overcomplicating it. It's because people are scared to take that first step, which like I get. Like, I mean, I understand, but how to become technical is just to become technical. Like, start building shit. Think about a problem you have, build a to-do app. But like, if you don't build something that'll help your day-to-day life. And it could be, if it helps your day-to-day life, then it probably helps other people's. And then so maybe you could start a little something there. But yeah, like just start
Join
building
your
stuff.
join your school's like hackathon team or something. That's what I did. It was fun.
Yeah. Yeah, I think to the hackathon stuff, yeah, Maryland has a pretty big hackathon scene with Bitcamp and everything. And then also Maryland has this thing called Startup Shell, which
Mm,
is like you have to apply to, and it's this kind of like incubator. Basically, you're surrounded by a bunch of other startup people and you learn a lot from them. I think surrounding yourself with also, yeah, that's another thing. Surrounding yourself with people who like building will naturally get you in that flow. That's why it's so important to like be in San Francisco and things like that. It's like that common saying of like, you are the five people you hang out with the most. That's a
mhm.
very true statement, like extremely true statement. Like, they just naturally rub off on you subconsciously. And then, yeah. So if you're on five builders, you'll probably be the sixth. So
Fair enough. And I think it makes it very clear to say that you're probably surrounded by a lot of builders. And it seems like you start companies not to make money, which a lot of people do. You start it because you want to do it and you like solving problems. And
yes,
at the end of the day, that probably distinguishes a lot of people from successful and non successful founders.
yes, yes, completely. Completely. Like, when you're doing it strictly for the love of the game, then nothing can genuinely stop you. If you're doing it for the love of the game, like that's what a lot of people tend to misunderstand. And it's really, and I'll tell you this personally, it's really easy to get caught up with the game and everything. Like, it's really like fundraising, like, shoot, this customer churn. Oh shoot, we got to get this customer. But at the end of the day, I'm like, dude, wait, I'm building this cool ass product that I wish that I had and I'm very passionate about with one of my best friends and an amazing team. What more can I possibly ask for? Like, this is phenomenal. So like, going into your day with that mindset creates so much of a difference than going into your day with like, oh shit, we got to get this customer, that got to that. Which nonetheless, like, we still got to get this customer and that customer, and be there 24/7 to make that happen. But it's like, it's a
That's part of the game.
part of the game. Just be
Yep.
grateful for kind of what you have. And I think a lot of people don't take the conscious effort to be grateful for how far they've come. So
Give
that's
thanks.
one thing that I definitely uh I had like a little problem, not a problem with that, but I had like a little like, it's so easy to focus on everything going bad. Sometimes it's good to like take a second and just be like, wow, okay, things are going so well. Super appreciative to be here. Like a year ago today, I was at the third company. We were founding engineers, and we ran out of funding. So Jason and I weren't getting paid. No one on the team was getting paid. And we were like, damn, do we stick this out? Do we do this? And then we ended up working like a few months unpaid completely. Um, because of the love of the game. We loved the team, and we loved what we were building. And so it's when you're not money driven, it's really easy to become money driven. I'm not saying I'm not money driven, but naturally the core root is the love of the game. Just love building stuff. Been building stuff since I was in like fifth grade. So it's like, yeah,
Sweet. And super wise words from someone very young. So I love to see it. Last thing, if you don't have to go, because I know we're already over time.
I'm totally fine with sticking around. Like, I just have, let me, sorry. Yeah, I just got something at 4, so I'm on Eastern right now. But yeah, like 23 minutes left.
Okay,
But
chilling.
yeah.
I got a haircut, so
Oh,
everyone
nice.
in the comments tell me to fricking get a haircut. Fuck you guys. I'm gonna go get.
Yeah, low key, I did too. Like, yeah, same a bit. I think your hair looks great though.
Thank you. See, to all my haters, UV,
Yeah,
he got me back. He got my
I
back.
got you.
All right, last point I want to talk about. You said college, CS, not super important. Well, let's go into that because
Mhm.
I feel like a lot of people are trying to figure out, okay, like what college do I go into? Like they're doing applications right now, they're thinking about their future, and college is a big part of it. To you, I'm catching the drift that it really isn't that important, right? You kind of make what you make out of yourself more than what you make out of college. Is that fair to say?
100%. 100%. Like, may I ask, like, who is your audience? Just so I can, like, tailor this response correctly.
Yeah, for sure. I think, well, there's different parts. There's entrepreneurs, investors is a pretty big part, but I think what we're going for here is like the college student. I think
Yeah.
there's just a decent amount of people who are just curious, a
Mhm.
lot of business majors who just love hearing about this kind of stuff, a lot of CS and like technical majors as well who are just interested in like the building aspect because they kind of have the technical part down. Now they need to take that first step. So I'd say we're probably gonna tailor it towards the college student.
Okay, cool. Um, yeah, college is great. Like, I loved college. I mean, my friends, lifelong friendships, met my long-term girlfriend there. So, like, I think college is phenomenal. And also it's a lot of fun, dude. Like, what? Like freshman year, going to the bars, fake ID, all this bullshit. Like, how can you not like that's fun shit, you know?
Go booze
Like,
on a Tuesday, taco
yeah,
Tuesday.
basically, like I did all that. It's not like I was huddled in my room working on code all day. Like I did all of that, and I would say I did too much, but it was so much fun. And I think not getting that out of your system, but you have to experience that. There's like well, okay, not have to experience it, but you know what I mean. Like I think people have such a so it depends how pilled you are. So what I mean by that is like, are you like 996 pilled where it's like, oh
Mm.
man, if you're not working 996 ever since you graduate high school, you're just not gonna make it. Like, no, like there's like balance is everything. Like, I think there's also like a whole there's also the opposite where it's like, oh, I'm gonna do all the marketing, but like my product is shit. And like there's like LinkedIn and ex warriors who like claim they, this much, and then you use the product and it's just in shambles. So it's like you have grifters on both ends. And I think 996, the whole thing is cool, but it's just not sustainable. Like, I understand like there are weeks where you have to pull that off. I mean, we do that like the whole 996 stuff is early stage startup. It is kind of not said, but like average, we work like 70 to 75 hours a week. Like me, my co-founder, engineers, everything. So it's like, but that's for the love of the game. Don't do it for the social stuff. So,
You're not
that's
gonna
what I'm
last doing that 75 if you don't like it either, right?
yeah. Oh, yeah, if you don't like it even a bit, then it's like you're going to fizzle out. Yeah. But okay, sorry, that was a little off topic, but college is great because you get to one, I think connections and you just get to like meet like, for example, you go to your CS classes, and yes, you don't really learn like the basics of the object-oriented programming is genuinely all you need to like build a product. Like especially with Cursor and Claude Code and all these tools out there now, like you don't need much to start building stuff. Or you just need to understand the basics and then get really good at building stuff. But like if you ask me to do proof by induction in my whatever class and like reverse a linked list and stuff like that stuff just genuinely doesn't matter if you're trying to build if you're trying to interview and go big tech, then you got to know what a binary search tree is, doing all that shit, but you don't really use that, and especially when you're building a product like you really don't use stuff like that. So it's about filtering out what you need and what you don't need. And like for example, a lot of my friends who went big tech, like, they studied up on their leak code and they learned how to reverse as many linked lists as they want. What I'm saying, like, they learned all those games, but do they use it in their day-to-day job? No, like, not at all. So if you want to go corporate, I think the companies are great. I mean, sorry, the classes are great. I
Mm.
think you learn things that you're probably going to be interviewed on. And yeah, that's all. It's just like a barrier to entry of like, if you want to go to like Meta and all these like, big companies. So that's what college is good for. However, if you want to go the startup area, that's why you see so many college dropouts, like to build companies. I'm not saying that I think that's a great choice. Like I'm saying whatever floats your boat kind of thing. But that's why you see so many people drop out to start companies because like none of it really translates. Like even in your business classes, like half your bit, like I would say half, if not most, of your business professors have never started a company themselves. Like, what do they possibly know about business? You know, they know it from course material and their MBA and things like that. So that's why and this was something that I had to like explain to my parents, um, because like, you know, they're very traditional in terms of like college. Get your master's, do this, blah, blah, blah. And I told them, like, Mom, Dad, I'm taking this other route. But they kind of saw it over the years with the 4 companies and stuff that they're like, all right, do whatever, do your own thing. We trust you. But yeah, so I think it's like a very unconventional, like untraditional way to go about it. But classes like is cool. And going back, sorry, what I was saying about classes is like if you go to your CS classes and you're a smart kid and you're surrounded by smart kids, you're now surrounded by people who are smart. Now, if you find a subset of those people who are builders and like are like, okay, yeah, school is cool, I'll get my A's and all that, but this is not my passion. All right, now you're kind of cooking. Now you got a group of people who are like, shit, I don't like school. I'm not going into big tech, but I'm really good at building and they're smart. Stick onto those people, and now you guys can build together. So I think that's how a lot of people find co-founders actually. Um, so I know Berkeley has a huge thing of like maybe not huge, but like, you know, a lot of YC companies are, you know, Berkeley founders and things like
Yep.
that. Like not many are Maryland founders. I think we're like the probably fourth or fifth group to come out of Maryland and be YC
Represent.
founders. Yeah, represent. And I think we got another one this batch, like winter 26. So yeah, we're on the come up, I would say. And our CS program is pretty fire. But yeah, that it's really good for meeting people and you can meet some really great people and really smart people who are like trying to build something more than just, you know, leak code interviews and build something like a company. And so I think going to these really smart CS classes, maybe you could find some. So that's why I don't think they're all too bad. I don't think they're all bad. Like I don't think they're bad. I think it's like what you want. They're really good for, but it can't apply to everyone. So yeah.
And I do want to tack on just a point from your original point about going out and going to bars. UV and I, for the audience, like to go booze every now and then. That's
Sure,
our
yeah.
thing, but there's a million other things in college, right? We're not like it's not necessarily go booze, it's go have fun. Whether that's like go study abroad, go like join a club, right? I'm part of like a club where we just like hang out with dogs. Like it's the funnest thing ever. I fucking love it. I would never give it up, right? But the point there is like just find your niche, and it's really hard to find like such a place with so many opportunities to have so much fun that isn't college.
I think college is a great way of finding what you don't like and finding what you like. I had a few friends of mine who like got sick of the whole boozing thing, and so did I. We started like in college every now and then we would go booze, but it's like more
Started hard
so
drugs.
no, not that, never that. Like a few of my friends, they would just be Friday nights would just be like a more sports kind of thing or board games kind of thing or a chill out and like just watch a movie kind of thing. And that's slowly what you realize. But that's such I'm just talking about like that side of things, but yeah, overall college is to find what you don't like and what you like. So the whole idea is keep experimenting and do this for people as well. Find the people that you like, find the traits of people that you like, find the traits of people that you don't like. Once you realize that everything you do in life is all about like everything is a positive, you either find what you like or what you don't like. If you start thinking about life that way, where you just like walk into life and you're like, hey, I'm going to try out this new thing and I don't like it. Okay, now I know that I don't like it. So, like, you know, that's positive. And if you go try this new thing and you like it, you're like, okay, now I know I like it. So it's positive. So I'm saying start going into life, going to college and just try shit. And yeah, there's nothing bad to come from it. Like, just you'll like it or you won't. And then from there, you just go on your life. And so yeah, it's just like life is like a just a bunch of experiences and knowing what you like and what you don't like. So, got a little philosophical there, but, yeah.
I love it. Yeah, come for the business talk, stay for the philosophy talk. I need more philosophy on this podcast. I'm not gonna lie. We're gonna have some conversation in the future where you and I go into like deep philosophy, like existential crisis type shit. We're talking about free will, existence. So, a feeling that would be a fun talk.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, UV, thank you so much for hopping on the pod. It's
Of
been
course.
absolute fucking blast. I had an amazing time. I hope you did as well. I know our audience did. So yeah, I'm gonna stop the recording here. But just one more time, thank you so much, Evie.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for having me, Nikita. And I hope I helped the audience in any way. Anyone watching this, if you want to reach out, please, by all means, go ahead. Um, I'll always respond. Yeah.
Sweet.
Thanks for watching, I guess.